As I stood in front of the bathroom mirror, fiddling with my tie, the day's burden began to weigh heavily on me. Hey, I'm Grayson Bell, and I recently turned 38. I've been working late for 2 years now, drawing designs at night, pitching to clients who didn't share my vision, and getting by on coffee and sheer obstinance. But it finally paid off. A contract to develop a community arts center was awarded to my modest Chicago architecture business. A project that might make us famous. It wasn't just a victory, it was a lifeline, and I wanted to silently rejoice. My wife, Isabel, and a few close friends. Maybe we'd enjoy a steak and a beer together. But Isabel had other plans. She demanded we host a dinner at Ma's Own Duvet, a fancy downtown venue with chandeliers. That cost more than my car. "You deserve it, Gray," she said softly, her eyes gleaming with the same compelling light that captivated me 10 years ago. I trusted her to handle it. She liked hosting, and I didn't have the energy to argue. I assumed she'd keep it modest and classy, like our old dinners before life got complicated. Isabel was in the living room, scrolling on her phone when I stepped in. The tie looked decent enough. She looked like she belonged in a magazine, her golden hair styled just so. "Are you sure about this place?" I asked. "It's expensive. I'd be okay with something more low-key." She didn't laugh. "Don't be silly. This is your moment. Let me make it special," she said, looking up. Her tone left no room for debate. I shrugged, chalking it up to her trying to show off a little. She had been supportive during the lean years, picking up extra hours at her marketing job when my firm was barely scraping by, so who was I to say no to an expensive dinner? Still, something was bothering me. I joked, "Who's all coming?" She barely looked up. "Malik, my sister, a few others. You know, usual help. Don't worry about it." Malik was my best friend, solid, reliable. But the vagueness stuck with me. And Belle, her sister, Belle never showed up alone. She brought her entire circus. We drove to Ma's Own Duvet in silence. City lights flickered past as I tried to stay in the moment. I pictured the curved glass of the arts building. It felt good to build something real, something that might outlast me. When we pulled up, the restaurant's elegant lines and gleaming windows caught the glow of the evening. Isabel squeezed my hand. "Are you ready to be honored?" she asked. Her smile was warm, but fleeting. As if her mind was already somewhere else. I returned her smile, but my jaw nearly dropped when the hostess walked us to a private room. The table stretched long enough for a wedding reception. Crystal glasses sparkled under delicate lighting. A white orchid centerpiece caught the glow. "Isabel," I started to ask, "how many people are coming?" She was on her phone again. "It's fine. Gray, just relax. Enjoy it." Her voice was gentle, but firm, like she was calming a child. I swallowed my questions. This was supposed to be my night. The room felt too big as I sipped ice water, the clink of ice loud in the silence. I thought about calling Malik, but everything felt too polished, like it belonged in someone else's life. Then the door burst open. Belle, her husband, Jasper, their 3 kids, all bouncing like they'd just chugged soda. Then came Max, Isabel's cousin. More people, more noise. Belle pulled me into a hug, her perfume overwhelming. "Congrats, big shot!" she shouted. Jasper slapped my back like he was ringing a gong. The kids started tearing through the room. Isabel smiled brightly, herding them to their seats like a conductor with an unruly orchestra. "I thought you said small," I whispered to her. She stroked my arm. "It's family, Gray. They're proud of you." I sank into my chair. It creaked under me. These were people who hadn't called me in years. More guests arrived. Belle's friends, an aunt I barely knew, a man I vaguely recalled from Isabel's old job. The room buzzed with laughter and conversation. I looked toward Isabel, but she was too busy pouring wine, acting like the perfect hostess. The reason we were here, my contract, hadn't even been mentioned. I stood up, took a breath, told myself to let it go. Maybe this was her way of showing her pride. But then the kids started banging spoons on the table. Belle ordered a bottle of champagne I knew was expensive, and I started to lose hope. This wasn't about me anymore. I tightened my grip on my drink, looked around the room. This night, my night, was being hijacked. I sat at the head of the table. My tie felt like it was choking me. How did I let this happen? The meal was supposed to celebrate the deal I bled for over 2 years. Instead, it was spiraling. My phone buzzed. I checked under the table. A text. From Belle. "Where do you want me to seat the kids? The kids weren't even in booster seats." I looked up. Isabel was across the room arranging napkins, smiling, laughing. Another buzz. Tara was bringing her twins. That made 6 kids under 10, none of whom I had agreed to invite. I rubbed my temples. A week ago, Isabel showed me a guest list. 10 names. Malik, her parents, 2 of my old college friends. Manageable. Now Belle was texting me about seating charts. I hadn't even seen the final list, and this wasn't a dinner, it was a gala. The quiet hum in my skull turned into a full headache. My firm was finally doing okay, but we weren't wealthy. One night like this could wreck the savings I'd put aside for our next project. I looked up the menu. $180 steaks, $30 appetizers, wine starting at $120 per bottle. I wanted answers, but the room kept filling. Belle's friend Tara arrived. Her twins started tugging at the tablecloth. Max followed, shouting after, "His toddler." I leaned forward, elbows on the table, face in my hands. This wasn't a celebration, it was chaos. I thought about calling Malik. He'd always tell me when I was letting things go too far, but I didn't want to drag him into this mess. I looked at Isabel. Her emerald earrings sparkled beneath the chandelier. She was radiant, laughing, thriving in the moment. I got up, dodged a child wielding a dinner roll. "Hey," I whispered to Isabel. "Can we talk for a sec?" She tilted her head like I was about to ask for dessert. "Sure, Gray. What's up?" I hesitated, glanced around at the growing crowd. It's dumb," I muttered. Then louder. "This looks like way more than 10 people." She laughed softly. "Oh, don't be so stiff. Everyone wants to celebrate you tonight." She squeezed my arm and turned away. Words caught in my throat. I wasn't tense. I was confused. This was supposed to be my victory, my moment. Instead, it felt like a reunion I never signed up for. I sat back down, checked my phone. Another text from Belle. "Max and his wife are bringing their toddler. A toddler I didn't even know existed, from a cousin I hadn't seen since our wedding." I tapped the tablecloth with my fingers. For so long, I fought for this contract. Every late night,